Hi all. For this final webinar, I choose to write and say something about reading as important skill for ESL learners. Why reading? Because this should be the very first step that ELL learners should take that should take them to the final product, which is writing. We cannot master the writing process without knowing how to read. And this is why I choose the topic. And as I used to say, I can connect myself to ERL listener, even though I'm taking uh, doctoral classes, I still a learner. Reading has been defined as the meaningful interpretation of written or written verbal symbols and a result of interaction between the perception of graphic symbols that represent language and the reader's language skill, cognitive skill, and knowledge of the world. This is according to uh, Harris and Spy in 1985. In other words, reading is the process of decoding graphic symbols involving talking, thinking, interacting, valuing, integrating skill, and believing. It is also the process of interaction between the text and our previous knowledge. English language learning is frequently broken into four domains: reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Each of these four domains is equally important for me, and the development of one area tends to accelerate learning in other, and exposure to all domains. These domains hold equal importance because each can accelerate the acquisition of language skills in the other's domain. However, reading is the greatest way to develop our ELL's vocabulary comprehension and increase all their English skills. English language learners often have a problem mastering science, math, or social studies concepts because they cannot comprehend the textbook for these subjects. Freely choosing favorite materials to read as much as possible is a good way, according to Richard 1997, to develop a taste for foreign languages reading. In case of visualize and interpret what they read in their own way. In this way, ELL learners, even consciously or unconsciously, they open wide their knowledge about everything. This knowledge will be the ideal resources for students to write, speak, and it's the background knowledge to read other materials. Overview of ELL population. Right now, according to the NCES.gov, the percentage of public school students in the United States which were English learners was higher in school between 2014 and 2015. That percentage is like 9.4. That means like 4.6 million students. Those students are from all over the world, like over 40, uh, 400 different, with four different language background. And what is important here is like those students uh, lack of proficiency in English language. That's why they need to work on their reading skills. So we have like two categories of readings and two types important of reading, which are very important for every each process of reading. According to Krashen 2004, acknowledge that nearly everyone in the United States can read and write. So they believe here is like reading as much possible is a powerful tool that uh, impacts our skill, writing style, vocabulary, and even grammar as well as spellings. So several types of reading may occur in the language classroom. One way in which is this may be categorized as suggested by Brown. So we have like oral reading and silence reading. Oral reading reflects the ability to the reader to read smoothly, which includes paying attention to punctuation, grouping words into meaningful chunks, and using intonation that reflects appropriate meaning of the text. Meanwhile, silent reading refers is commonly used uh, of reading after the first grade, during which the teaching of reading is performed. Eh, after these categories of types of reading, and we have two principal types of reading, which are intensive readings and extensive reading. Intensive reading is when we call to the attention of grammatical form, discourse markers, and other surface structure details for the purpose of understanding literal meaning, implications, rhetorical relationship, and so on. Meanwhile, extensive reading is to achieve a general understanding of the text. So it occurs when students read large amount of high interesting material as usually out of the class, concentrating of meaning. The aim of extensive reading to build reader confidence and enjoyment. The extensive reading is always done for the comprehension of main idea, not for specific details. Why reading is so important for ESL learners? Reading can enhance their pronunciation. Like reading aloud helps learner learn better, especially pronunciation. Whisper reading can help learner understand the conceptual information and inspire their imagination as well as guessing. Vocabulary enhance, yeah, pointed here out of the importance of reading on vocabulary acquisition. A number of students here admitted that it enhanced their vocabulary and enrich it. Spelling capability, it can duplicate the capability of ELL learners. So there is the correlation between spelling and reading comprehension is because both depend on common denominator, which is the proficiency of the language. The grammar can be enhanced as well. Grammar is the system that structure any language, and every language has its own guidelines. So reading all kind of literature or nonfiction give the ELS learner and non only a much sharper sense of writing style, but also grammatical accuracy. Reading can enhance uh, their writing skill. Reading can also by this the more they read, the better their writing ability and the more skillful in using words in writing is. It writing can enhance their knowledge. It can be updating. So the student may improve overall language competence, build background knowledge, be more prepared for further academic course because they have read large quantities. Then we have some tips for reading. The first thing that ELS learner should do is like very carefully choose the topic and ask the question what they already know about the topic that is assigned to them. Uh, so have some question to have like strong expectation about the reading, locate the specific information, understand difficult ideas, have an overview of everything that they are doing. Also very important, they should have a purpose. Every reading should have a meaningful and a purpose. Why are so there are some implications that occurred when reading skills are mastered. Teaching children to read in their primary language promote reading achievement in English. For example, education policy should be aimed at making primary language instruction feasible for all ELS learners. Long-term instruction in their primary language will probably help maintain and develop primary language without sacrificing academic development in English. Students should be taught both in different languages, or like they are at the same level with their L1 learners. Instruction must be very well structured, explicit, and systematic. This is the part that with that works goes or with policies and products. Also, further research should be considered, like a fully elaborate model of reading development among ESL will also take into account the relationship among language and literacy development in the L1 and L2, like how and whether L1 and L2 factors play different roles at, with the component of literacy. Then the conclusion is as suggested by Freire 2010, we should teach our students how to read the world so that they can read the world. So for me, reading is more than important because it helps us to reach the process that we were working on through this semester, which is writing. I guess I share with you some important features that we should be taken and kept into account. Thank you for watching and listening.